forever, a fleeting memory. The only thing you'll have left is the notes and the artwork and the memories, which I will be finishing over the summer. So please, if you ever want to revisit the world, please reread the notes. I'll be spending time finishing them. I have 3 chapters to go.
Oh, this is cute. Behind the curtain.
Okay, so is someone recording?
Yep.
Oh, is it recording now?
Yeah.
Oh, dope. Okay. I think it's only fitting if we play the music for Waterwell though. Oh shit, no. And
Seth splashing.
I know.
We should have started an Instagram live.
Alright. Let's get into it. Alright, behind the curtain of the entire campaign is my table of contents. Greetings, adventurers! Today we will be going over everything behind the scenes over this entire school year for the campaign that I made for you. Through the presentation, and by the way, it is long, so we'll go through it as fast as possible, I'm going to show you the original design, sketches of the characters, as well as their this campaign artworks, because, I don't know if you guys know this, but Waterwell, and the whole campaign, was created based off of a campaign that I had ran through, much shorter, in so many years ago. And so I took that basic idea because I loved it, but I thought I could do better. And so we remade it like probably 4 years later for this. Then we're going to go through the original plot of that campaign and of this campaign before it was completely derailed in the first hour of the first session when Grace turned into a fucking shark and killed the big bad. What?
Does he have boobs?
No, it's like a float
I
that
don't
comes
think
to a
it's
point here. Oh, and speaking of original designs, we got the original designs of Eldrin and Line. I actually really like this design for a wizard, but it just didn't work with the rest of the designs when I remade everyone. It didn't even work with Selke, she looked so good. And we remade Line. I hate this. He looks like a goblin with horns, and his hair sucks, although it does look pretty military. But my worst bit is this. It looks like a dick, dude. That's like the Iron Wall mountain logo, but I put it in the worst spot. I hate it. Okay, anyway, after that, we're gonna go over things that I made up. Anything that was improv on the spot that had a huge impact on the story, that literally was just on a whim. Then we're gonna go through some real world references. There's actually only one that I'm gonna go through, but real folklore from real mythology in the real world. And then we're gonna close this out with the effect that all of you have had on this campaign and on the greater world of Elementia that I use for every campaign after this. Because you guys did a lot. And sometimes you say things, and they're canon. Why not? So let's keep going. Let's get into it. Here are the sketches that I made during, I think, a business class? I'm not gonna lie. On this little notepad that I bought at the beginning of freshman year. So over here, we have the original designs of Rain and Marlowe. A lot of these stay the exact same, and I just translated directly into like a digital form. But I wanted Rain to have like these big monocles, and it was gonna be this whole thing because this thing is he was gonna get murdered and poisoned, and as he falls on the table, his monocle rolls and like clatters to the ground and shatters, and it was gonna be like, oh my gosh. Then we have the original design for Ager, but this was like the third thing. I originally had like this wizard person. I think it was actually female and like a fish. But I like these big glasses, so I wanted to use them. And then it got turned into like this scholarly man who was like, oh. And I'm a big fan of like Two-Face-esque designs, you know, Harvey Dent, Alice Angel. And so I created Coral Flu just because I wanted like these crazy coral things coming off of him and Crab Claw. And then we have this person, the leader of the rebellion. Her name's Tsunami. You never met her. She matters, but in your context, she doesn't. We have Mira, Ocean, a potential guard, before I kind of made them all clones of each other. They have to be covered so that I can have a lot of them. This guy, who's just an NPC bark guy who I never used. Shark Dog. I originally mapped out the palace, or I started to before I realized that's so stupid because it's so big and you're never gonna explore it. So we just kind of like improv the layout and like canonize things. Like eventually, after like the second time we went into the palace, I kind of decided on where things were. But I think the first time it was just like a long ass hallway straight to the room. It doesn't matter. The exterior does not match the interior. This is the original design for the island. There's actually a couple of these, but this is like the biggest one I could find. There was a river, but in the current one that you have, there's not a river, and that was the whole thing, like, find the river. There's no river. And also you'll notice that it's more long, but in the, what's it called? In the final design, I made it sort of more of a circle with just like one head that was like this way to kind of drive home that it's like an island that's on a turtle shell, and this is the head. I think at this time I did have the turtle in mind. I've had that in mind since like last year, but like, anyway, final design for the knights. I kind of dumbed it down a little bit, but I think this was my rework of it. This is not the original design. This is for River's design. I had a hard time figuring out what he was gonna look like, but I wanted like this crazy like mutant coral flute guy. I thought that would like tie him to Selke, but that was too much, and I just kind of went with a basic like Maculata looking Triton, and kind of worked on the face here a little bit, just because I didn't want too much chaos with the guy. And then all these guys stayed exactly the same. These sketches went straight to digital. So we got Shelby, we got, I guess I gave Shelby a hat. Yeah, Lur, Iho, Azul, Peril, Ubas, Canton, and this little guy whose name is Reed Noodle. I don't think you ever met him, but he was supposed to be important, and he was this like goofy, silly little guy. It doesn't really matter. If you went to the beach, I guess you would have seen him. Alright, so let's talk about how I used to draw. So 2023 is a generous estimate. I think I started back in like 2020, 2021 because I was drawing during class and I didn't want my parents to find out that I was drawing. So I used the note-taking tool on my Chromebook to draw everything for my D&D campaigns. We had 16 colors, 15 highlighters, and 4 different sizes of like pen girth, which sounds like a lot. It is not. I had to learn some crazy like drawing techniques. I was like layering highlighters on top of colors, doing color theory. It was insane, and there was some dumb shit with my Chromebook where it would move the drawings up to the left every single time I made a thing, and so it would fuck everything up, and I had to like learn to draw with it. And then when I moved to like better softwares, I would accommodate that, but it wasn't a thing anymore. Anyway, I'm moving too slow. Let's get through this. So, time for the original designs of all of your favorite cast and crew. Starting with, I assume is your favorite character, my favorite character at least, Puddle. You ready to find out who Puddle was in the original campaign back from 2023? This is what he used to look like. His name was Pangolin Zuckdu, and his role was basically the same. He was a sniveling little servant, loyal to the crown, but in the original plot, he's actually not meant to turn. And I think in the plot of this campaign, he was also not meant to turn, but I think I decided like a couple sessions in that he was going to be this crazy like mastermind anarchist guy. But anyway, that's Puddle's OG design. Let's go talk about the NPCs, the anarchists. So we got Iho, Azul. Wait, what?
No, just very aesthetic.
Yeah. In the order. Yeah, I like their colors. I have a huge thing about like making crews rainbow. It's like a whole thing with murder mysteries, and like in this context, I think color is so important. You see it in like Avatar. You see it in so many different Last Airbender, so many different shows. And it's just something I tried. But I also got really into complementary colors, especially when I was drawing these. And you'll notice in a lot of these designs, their eye color or their clothing will be the opposite of what they like their skin tone. But anyway, this is what they used to look like. They used to be humanoid. We have 2 humans, a half orc, a Triton, and a half elf. For some reason, Ubas used to be a Triton, and she's the only one here who lost aquatic features. But yeah, they retain the same thing, like the scar, the kind of spikiness, which turned into like this spiky like lamp. The hat's really important, the lamp is really important. You know, strong guy for Canton. Alright, so from the next slide you'll have to understand something about a player character that I had in the summer of last summer. This is Charlotte Bodek's player character. Most of you have met her. The character was this princess type of character. Father was a Triton Lord. It's where we got the conch that an enemy has. Like I just said, like, oh, all the princesses have it. So basically, her father was originally a noble, not the king, and I kind of just promoted him for the campaign because, like, laid the groundwork. Cool, let's run with it. And so this character made Rain into what he was, and also gave me a sort of preservation thing because this was a character that another person created. I didn't want to just character assassinate and get him killed, which is why I made him a bit more redeemable. However, Rain was not always so redeemable. He used to be King Cletus Goldmond Ickle, who was this snotty, bratty, piece of shit British stereotype who was just decked out in monocles and gold, and he has the same voice, but he's just like such a classist asshole. You would have killed him so fast. Yeah, you almost did. You almost did. I tried to like save him because I didn't want to kill this character. Maybe not exactly for Charlie, but also just like, I feel like it'd be a waste. Like, you already killed the general. Might as well just keep him alive at this point. Anyway, Historian, actually his design is very similar, save for the coral. He used to look like this. His name is Pahir Grimwall's Force-Fiston. Wow. He's still a historian. He still lived in a tower in a very similar location. But he was not meant to be a villain, and actually at the start of the campaign, he was also not meant to be a villain, but I kind of changed it as it went, and I was like, okay, maybe this guy's like a conniving, like, mastermind, because I thought his motivations with, like, looking in history, and, like, the theme that I was trying to push of, like, there's always going to be someone going for the throne, history repeats itself. It really fits with this guy. But yeah, he's kind of just an exposition character in the original concept. Here's a little lightning round. We have a bunch of characters and NPCs and their original things. A lot of them I just kind of gave a visual upgrade, but these two were just citizens that I randomly put in the background during your combats. They both have coral flu. They both got cured by Lyme over the course of the campaign. I don't think you ever really saw these two. This guy you definitely didn't. This guy was in like one scene, one time. Didn't really matter. Anyway, so Eva is the daughter, actually, I decided, of this character who is sometimes a villain, sometimes one of my personal character OCs that I was going to use for a campaign, never got to. But this guy got killed several times. I love playing Dr. Villains. And so he has this whole backstory, and in one of his backstories, he has a daughter who's like immune to the plague. And we just kind of turned into her. We got Shelby, who was this like big buff like bird person. Doesn't really matter at all. They just filled a very similar role. This is the original design of the Knights, which I turned into this Castle Crashers looking thing. And then the leader of the rebellion used to be like this rabbit. We never got to see her, but Mira fills the same role, just the leader of the thing. Let's move on to this guy, General Marlowe. Here is his original design. His name is Thaldar Bronzeleader, and he used to fill the same role of just like the right-hand man who is aiming for the throne, and he makes this deal with a primordial god. And he's based on, a lot of the characters in the old campaign are based off of this TikTok beef from like 2021. Who here knows about the Council versus the Rogues? The Vandalord Shaderina? You're about to learn, guys! You're about to learn.
I'm on that.
Alright, so I'm gonna show you 3 slides, and it's gonna, basically, I treat this campaign kind of like a module, where it's been kind of shifting through plots and motivations and stuff. And so this whole TikTok beef, this guy on TikTok, the Vandalord, has like this council of men, and Shaderina revealed some secrets, and that started this whole like collaborative role-playing based lore where they would what's the word? When you like go next to someone's video? Duet. Yeah, they would duet each other's videos, and everyone on TikTok, a lot of people on TikTok just joined in, and they were like playing characters, and they were choosing sides. And so there's this.
Know what this is.
You do know what this is? Yeah, there was this whole drama, and they were like doing like plots and assassinations, and they were like making video games, whole video games and movies about it, where you could like actually go in and fight for your cause. There was like an interview on like a big channel where they had a debate. It was awesome. Anyway, that was translated into the old campaign, which I took inspiration for the new campaign, where you guys are invited to a royal thing and a royal feast and a rebellion meeting. You guys have to choose a side, but eventually it's revealed that the right-hand man kills the king and takes power for himself. There's going to be a little plot where you guys have to go get some remnants, but it's only to give the primordial a physical form. This is all translated to the new campaign, where we see Marlowe fitting the role of the right-hand man, and Rain fitting the role of the snooty king that dies, and then the Archmage is the primordial. So, let's take a step back. I'm going to slow it down a little bit and tell you my original goals for this campaign. This is the plan. So, Waterville is ruled by a lazy, spoiled king, and he is neglecting everyone and letting all this famine and plague spread. That's the big drama. And so, this guy works his way into the royal hierarchy. Originally, the Seafoams did not exist, and so it was just this guy. But I kind of had to, I felt like I had to put the Seafoams in there, just because, if you kill just Marlowe, then there's no plot anymore. So, anyway, we played through this in session 1. Azul and Iho are arrested, and then you're contacted by the rebellion and invited to a meeting. After that, Marlowe is gonna poison Rain, kill him off, and the party can attack him or flee or whatever they do. Just we're gonna play out the consequences of that scene. After that, we're gonna do the campfire session. I love that concept. Those characters are very meaningful to me, all 5 of them. And the Minyanangol is one of my favorite monsters to run. And so you're gonna have to survive that, and it was gonna be a thing where you eventually rally the townsfolk. But basically this guy makes a deal with the demon, and then you have to go through this weird parallel dimension stuff. That's where the as above, so below thing comes in. It's like a mirror of Waterwell, where this guy resides. You kill Marlowe, you decide who rules, and the campaign is over. It's actually pretty simple. I think these are a third of the sessions that you guys actually went through. So, what the fuck happened? This is not how it went at all. So much happened instead. And it's because you guys killed my big bad evil guy in session 1.
It was not me.
It was absolutely you. You're right. It was you and Aditya.
I did not want to kill him. Oh my god. I said, let's not. And he said, I will. And he did.
as far as I'm concerned, Seth is the only non-guilty person in this.
He killed just as many people as we
Who is
did.
the bad evil guy?
It's me.
Marlo.
I wasn't in
Marlo.
it.
That was the
and you,
He
of
was
course.
supposed to be the big bad guy. Like,
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Why would you make us fight him in the first session?
Well,
he didn't
he
expect
wasn't.
to kidnap him.
I
He
wasn't.
kidnapped
You were
him.
meant to fight him in the first session. Whatever. That's an oversight by me. I had a problem this campaign of thinking that I was going to power up these characters and you stopping them before they get the chance, and that just like killed a lot of cool combat. But it's totally okay because it was really badass for you guys, so I'm okay with it. So here's all the shit that I made up on the spot. River did not exist until halfway through session 2. I made him up during session 2. There was like a weird stuttering as I was like trying to come up with this like letter, and I was like, find the river. I did plan for the character and like the whole mystery, like the guy in the cell, and all that, and like locked in the tower, but I didn't really know where he was gonna go. I designed him after that session. And so River didn't really exist until later. He's not in Charlie's lore. Marcel does not have a brother. So, yeah. Alright, so the entire royal family was also made up on the spot. Here's what happened. It was a bit of a problem. You guys were exploring the historian's library, and you looked through a book of lore of the nobles, and I just listed off. I think I ran empty my entire NPC name list, because I usually have, like when a campaign starts, just a list of names to assign to characters as they come up and as they're needed, and I ran through it all, just princess, lord, king, whatever, and that made a very difficult situation when you guys asked for the family tree, because now we have princesses for families that don't have like authority.
Yeah, that was very confusing.
So we made up this really complicated tree of like siblings and adoptions, and Marlo's a dolphin, but his like son is a Lokatha. I don't know. So they're just made up on the spot. Then we got the Archmaid, who is also made up on the spot. This crazy important character who ended up being the big bad evil guy. You guys asked if there was a mage that served the king. And I was like, yeah, they probably have a mage that serves the king. Here's this goofy old man with a beard of seaweed. And yeah, I didn't have art for him. I didn't have anything for him. Just made him on the spot, and he kind of just evolved into this crazy evil guy. I think like at one point you made up the fact that he was your
I did make that
pupil.
up.
So yeah, that was just like out of nowhere. The heart root, also not anticipated. This very important thing for how the dungeons progressed was made up by Mac. So I did intend for something similar. I really like the druid vibes and like this dungeon where you like circle down into the depths and like this crazy plant life stuff. However, you made lore that fit perfectly, and so yeah, they're one and the same. So Mac is very responsible for a lot of the important stuff. The Emerald Storm, the fact that people are after her, and like trying to like find the heart root. That's Queen C and Archmage's motivation. Yeah, a lot of it didn't exist until Mac joined. And the last one is the amulet. Of course, did not exist until you guys fought and killed this guy, and I was like, oh shit, I feel like I need to preserve some of this. I feel like he would have some sort of like, what's the word? Like, failsafe. He would have some sort of failsafe. And at this point, I was tinkering with like, Azul getting power. I wanted him to be like a big bad maybe, and that's why he was learning magic in your house. So like, what if Azul gets the amulet that this guy has, and he like becomes this evil wizard, or maybe he learns all the magic on his own. I don't know. But yeah, that didn't exist until Nick and Seth kind of pushed the buttons there. All right, let's talk about some alternate endings and cut content from sessions. Entire sessions removed, monsters, NPCs, whatever else. Here's some alternate endings for you guys. First of all, Azul gets the amulet. I was talking about this before. I did want a betrayal from him from like very early on.
His eyes got so thick.
I know. I like the camera angle completely shifted too.
It did, yeah. He was like looking down, all intimidating. Yeah. So I made this design before he had it, and I was like, "That's really cool. What if like George has his skull for him?" Dope. But yeah. So like I said, he was gonna not betray you. The whole thing was that he felt betrayed by you. I wanted a sort of thing where you had an angel and a demon on your shoulder the whole time, and so Iho is like the innocent soul, the one that's like, hey guys, maybe we can like not kill this guy, and Azul's like, yeah, blow up the palace, let's do it.
What was that one thing where like, was it blow up the entire palace? He's like, yeah, let's do
I don't
it.
Yeah.
think did we
No,
say
no,
that?
it
Yes.
was something crazy.
Nick
and he's
did
like,
say,
Yeah.
what if we
I
just
said,
blow on
"Sure."
the beach after killing the lizards?
and he's like, yeah, let's do it.
That's exactly what I'm referencing.
Yeah. And he did it too.
He did it. But yeah, so that was kind of the plot for him. He was trying to learn magic, but that's not really something that he wanted to do. That's something that I kind of wanted him to do because I think that magical villains are really cool and fun to run. But anyway, so that was his beef. But yeah, again, I would like to preference he's not evil. He just is very strict in his beliefs, and he will be betrayed if you betray him, I guess. Alright, let's talk about another amulet ending. Puddle gets the amulet! For a big part of the beginning of this, Puddle was also gonna be, like, even before Zool, I was thinking, like, what if Puddle's the big bad evil guy? But I think it was Jada who was like, please don't make Puddle the big bad. And I was like, okay, I can't make Puddle the big bad. But I had this design for him where he was like this cloaked guy in a mask. And he was gonna get the amulet, and he was like, I've been enslaved for so long, and now I will take out my wrath on the nobility. So this was an April Fool's image that I sent in the group chat that was not technically a joke. It was because I bailed on that, but that was my vision for the ending at one point, maybe an hour or so before I bailed on it. This is something that Emily saw. Queen gets the amulet, Queen C. Basically, we ran out of villains, and so what if C got the amulet, and maybe like, she's like, you killed my entire family, you killed my husband, all this shit, and so she's like, I'm gonna finish what he started, starting with killing you, and so she gets this like, cool smoky shadow powers, and her arms are made of
There's
shadows.
just a bunch of different people with the amulet.
Yes, exactly. All these were made probably like after session 5. As soon as the amulet got introduced, I started thinking about who could get it.
So like
Um,
13 sessions
early
ago.
on.
Yeah.
The amulet was.
Session 5, yeah, the banquet. Exactly.
I did not remember that.
This wasn't designed during the banquet though. I didn't have any plans for C, but yeah, the first 2 were absolutely like totally possible. Except Puddle. Puddle had like passing thought. Anyway, let's talk about the dungeon. You guys remember this?
Yes,
Yeah.
I saw that.
Uh-huh. So this is the plot for the dungeon. Every door that I had to go through, it changed a lot as you went down. I didn't follow this strictly, but yeah, starts with the encounter with Nala, and you go through the grand door, and then you fight the
Can you stand
mimics.
on the other side? Is there any way? Just because it's hard to see. Like, can you stand on
Sure.
the other side?
Okay, this is okay. So yeah, you fight Nala, you go through the door, you fight the mimics. They're like these guard dogs. I had that prepped for a long time. I love the fact that any object is a mimic. Wait, what?
I saw that so early on,
Yes,
and I
you
kept
did.
I kept sneaking out every like session, and be like, did this happen yet? Did this happen yet? Did this happen yet?
Yeah, which also technically means that a corpse could be a mimic, which I didn't do, but interesting food for thought. Anyway, so yeah, exit through the floorboards. Boop, our first step. Anyway, so then we have the crab, starfish, barnacle, coral room. It was the fox, the chicken, and the wheat puzzle. But I made that in order to show that Selke is the key to solving the coral flu.
Oh, I didn't get that.
I know, it's okay. But anyway, so then treasure and magic item time. This wasn't actually meant to be the heart root initially. If you look down, the heart root riddle room was supposed to be a puzzle, but I kind of just combined them into like happening one after the other. And so yeah, that's where we get the third thing. And then the mirror, the water, that's something that got moved around a little bit. But yeah, I'm sure you remember the clone fight. Encounter with Nile and an enemy, he uses his little sister as a sort of thing. You gonna kill all of us? You have to kill her too. Anyway, room reflection. That's that. And then things kind of got fucked up around here. I moved things around as the session went, honestly. But yeah, Spiral Maze is this last thing. Spiral goes on it for infinite. That's what Mac experienced in the Heart Root. And then we have, I was originally gonna make the encounter with all the people that you killed a feast, and it was gonna kind of mimic the feast from session 5. But I thought that actually I think I scrapped for time, but also it was just like, let's just combine these, whatever. I didn't want to risk you guys killing Iceberg before the chest, but then you did anyway. Anyway, exit the door and the laboratory, which I changed to like this palace because I thought that it would mimic the whole thing, where it's like a reflection of above. And we get to the Citadel, the end of time, or not really, the Citadel between the spirit world and the human world. All right, how are we feeling? We following?
Very nice.
All right. Let's move on. So, these are some monsters that I've had in my baggie the entire campaign. I designed them like super early on. I love this character's design. I probably will reuse it for something in the future. But yeah, this might have been for like the dungeon or something. Yeah, you have a question? Or no? Okay.
No, I'm just
Maybe for the dungeon. I think I scrapped that for time because you also fought the lizards during that session. It was like, nah. These guys may be in like the historian's laboratory. I don't know. But yeah, they never really came up. And as the session progressed, I just had different motivations and they never got used, but I love their designs. Anyway, next up, the beach episode. So I created rivals for each of you. Where it's kind of like these cocky reflections of your personalities. So for Lion, we have this Goliath who's gonna be like bigger and stronger and like more tough than him, and it was just gonna be like anything you can do, I can do better. For Eldrin, he's this like wise like wizard, and so of course we had to have like. Yeah, a stoner goblin who just doesn't care about anything. For these two, we have Silke, who has a lot of like visual flaws with like presentation. And so we had this like perfect sea elf who would just be like making fun of her appearance the whole time. And then for George, I never really ended up putting too much thought into George's counterpart, just because like I wasn't fully planning these yet. Same with Margot. When Margot was introduced, I was like, you gotta make one for Margot. That's why you don't even have a name. Like, this never came up. When the campaign progressed, it got a lot more mature and a lot more fast-paced, and like the stakes were higher. And I just didn't feel like we had time, and I didn't think that it was like appropriate for the tone of it or the time that we had both in game and in the semester. And so the whole thing was scrapped, but the whole thing was going to be like maybe a volleyball tournament that I flavor into like this cool fantasy game. Also, little brother of your counterpart was the guy from the sketches in originally. But yeah, at the end of it, I had these little, not little, they're very big actually, sea monsters who were going to crawl out of the beach and attack you guys, and you might have to work together with your counterparts. But I never even drew them. I mean, I printed them out from Pinterest, but like, never even drew them, didn't come up, scrapped it for time mostly. Another thing that was scrapped, not for time, but because you guys kind of just worked around it. We were going to have an execution scene.
He's gonna kill me?
Yeah, in this scenario, Lur is under the impression that Lion is still with him. And so he pulls Lime to the podium and is like, hey, we got these prisoners. We got either Eldrin or Azul or both. I need you to take them out, execute them. And I was just gonna see what happens from there. Like, put you guys in a situation where your cover is tested, and I don't know, we'll just see. That didn't happen. We have 4 horsemen. I originally had a plan for like all the characters in the campaign. This guy never came up, but he's very much just the Racketeer again, because I fucking love that character. And then yeah, Evo is gonna be Plague, Azul is gonna turn into the embodiment of war, and then Puddle is gonna be Death, guys. Mind you, when he was still meant to be a villain. But yeah, we scrapped that. I pitched it for next year's campaign, but I don't think we're gonna do that. But yeah, that's why Eva's design is so creepy and villainous, is because she was gonna be a villain as well, and they were gonna, after you guys kill the sea foams, we're gonna continue the whole thing with like Waterville is sinking and the plague is taking over and people are starving, and these guys kind of rise up as these embodiments of the conflicts, stir it on, and you guys have to fight them in like 2-part sessions each. That didn't come up. We didn't have time. Wasn't worth it. The flood almost didn't happen. We almost cut it for time. I was gonna just have you guys fight the sea foams and take down the armament, but I thought that like, I think it was like right before a session. I was like, let's just do it. Let's just do it. Whatever. And yeah, so another thing that was maybe gonna happen is you might have to use the upside down water well to evacuate everyone, but Lion came up with the idea of just like leave. So that makes more sense, I guess. Anyway, yeah, so the flood didn't almost happen, almost cut it for time, but it did. Lizard invasion. What if Waterville just got invaded by a shit ton of lizards? Maybe the monsters from the jungle started coming in, and you guys had to fight them all off, and we just had a session of like post-apocalyptic survival. It wasn't an ending, of course, but again, these are just like sessions and plot beats. But yeah, almost happened. Didn't cut for time, of course. Anyway, then we get Eldrin loses his power. This is something that I created for the final session, where the only way to get the Archmage out of your head is to use a spell that I actually homebrewed, which I was going to send to you, and it was just a one-time spell, and it was going to bring you back to level 1. But because of that, you would expel the Archmage forever, and you know, spooky stuff. But
I had a wish.
yeah, you had a wish. I didn't know that was a thing that you could do. But this was kind of in the critique of like, you need to force us to do things like to get stakes, and so like, what if you have to make a sacrifice? And this would be the sacrifice. But it didn't happen because you got around it. So good job. And then talk about some real-world inspirations. We're almost done, guys. This is the Manan Nangal. This is my version, which is like octopus-based for peril. But in Filipino folklore, the Manan Nangal is a spirit demon type of thing, which is part of this greater family of like.
Isn't this vampires?
Yeah, it is a vampire.
Yeah, the CIA did a psyop.
Did they?
Involving them, yeah.
That's very interesting. But yeah, it's in like the Oswald family, which is the whole thing. But yeah, so their functionality stays the same. They have these like they can break apart their spines and come out into like these winged beasts, which you can kind of see like this is separate, and then the wings, and then they have these like razor sharp tongues that'll shoot out, and that's how I attacked a couple of you guys. And it would like hit your insides, and so like sucking your insides out. And it was actually how the people used to explain miscarriages back in the olden times. But they usually try to hide these, and the only way to truly kill a Mananangal is to throw salt on the spine flower. I call it spine flower. I'm sure there's a different word for it, but that's what Azul did at the end. He just ran into Ubas's tent and got some salt and threw it on him. But I got really deep into like Filipino folklore from the animatic that came out a while ago, which featured a bunch of them, and I was like, let's research them, and I started throwing them into D&D campaigns. And so we have like the Mananangals one, a lot of the lizards are based off of Oswogs. And then there's some like this trickster gold thing called Tiktikvalan. Vivits are spirits. Bunch of other stuff. But yeah, this is a big inspiration. I love this monster. It's so cool. Okay. And then finally, let's talk about your impact on the greater world, the future of these campaigns. Because you guys have come a long way. Every decision that you made, every random thing that you just said that happened to be canonized, impacted this in so much. More than you're going to see on the next slide, by the way, I will promise. Alright. Eldrin the Grand, let's start with you.
Okay.
You made some very interesting lore with the ancients. Apparently, there's like this council of wizards at the beginning of time, and you're one of them. So that's some awesome lore, because I have like a pantheon of gods, but now we have what's right under them are these awesome old wizards, and maybe we'll see some wizards in future campaigns now that Eldrin has
Return to them.
thought them into existence. Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about Selke. Selke, you helped me make a plague, so good job, I guess. You had not just an impact on that start of that plague, which may return later because it still exists, even though it's cured for the people of Waterwell. But you also affected a lot about the afterlife and revival. You made this really cool thing with like bringing people back into different bodies, which I know is a spell and it's not something that you created. But I really like that of like reincarnation, and I think I'm gonna roll with that as far as like the spirit world, because the spirit realm is not something I have very fleshed out. So thank you for helping with that. Next up we have Limestonist. So I didn't really flesh out Ironwall because we haven't seen it yet, but he helped me with a lot of the military and the wars that happen there. There's a whole like drama with like retirement, you can't get out, bro. And so that's really awesome. I appreciate all like the stuff with like who they're fighting. They have mages apparently in their military because this guy got revived after dying. His general revived him actually. So apparently generals have magic. That's awesome now. And then yeah, afterlife lore he was the first one to actually make a limbo. I asked him to do it, and he created this really cool thing, which was like being haunted by every single person that he killed in his in the war in his past. And that's what I kind of rolled with like, okay, now all of you guys are getting haunted by the traumas of your past in your limbos and your backstory. And of course, you guys all contributed to this, but I just threw it under lines because Seth literally explained to me how this works after the session for the council and the consuls. The government in Waterwell changed a lot, and you guys are all responsible for that. So next time you see Waterwell, it will look very, very different. And Eldrin is also responsible for that, and Margot is also responsible for that, and all of you guys are really responsible for that. Speaking of Margot, Heartroot lore, that is huge, not just for the spirit world, but also for the druid land. Because of you, I decided that the Heartroot is a thing that comes from this giant tree in the druid world, and a seed got into the shell. So you helped me make that. You created the Emerald Storm, which now is free to go all over Elementia, and we'll see maybe the effects of that on other continents. And then you helped me flesh out Waterwell's navy. Margot created like this whole like league of like pirate sailors. And also this like lore with like her grandma who would like bring her down to the lower cliffs and look at the spirits and like dance with them and all that stuff. Very Moana. But yeah, all these things are absolutely canon and will have huge impacts if you ever go to any other area in the world. And finally, George, impacted with a lot of the culture of Waterwell, bringing in stuff with like hiring mercenaries. Willie's Wells, I guess, is an academy, and that is a canon there.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, do you remember this?
Barely.
Yeah, barely, right? But it exists.
I very vaguely remember
I went to Willie's Wells Academy.
Yeah, I just vaguely remember fucking
But yeah, a lot of just things about George grew up in Waterwell, and so I'm tailoring a lot of the culture around George's character.
He's a Waterwellian.
Waterwellian, yes, he is.
Well,
And of course,
from Waterwell.
George was a big part in the Rainfall Fest. I think it's what it's called, yeah. And
After
for
10 minutes
I know.
of
yeah, that
name.
took so long, guys. But yeah, for everything that went into that as well. I think this is my last slide. I didn't do a thank you. Oh well. Well, thank you all for everything you've contributed